The next group of algae is the Phaeophyceae. Now Pheo word stands for brown color and Phyceae word stands for the algae. So these algae are brown in color, so that's why they are called as the Phaeophyceae, and there are 2,000 species near about of these brown algae. Mostly they are marine, very few of them are in freshwater. Example, Sargassum, which is found in the sea called as Sargasso Sea, which comes a lot in the MCQ question. Which algae is found in Sargasso Sea? The answer is Sargassum. In case of brown algae, please remember that there is no single cell structure. So they do not have single cell formed. All forms are multicellular. Like we learned in the Chlorophyceae, we have single celled also, multicelled also. But in Phaeophyceae, we have only multicellular forms. There are no species which are single celled. Only multicellular forms are present, and they may be branched, filamentous like Ectocarpus, or flat ribbon like, for example, Sargassum, Laminaria and Fucus. Some are largest. We all know the example. If you watch Animal Planet, sometimes they show turtles in water and then huge green or brown color, yellowish color, long algae growing inside, which are called as kelps. So kelps are something equivalent to the tropical forest where we see huge trees. In the same manner, kelps can grow 40 to 60 meters also in height in the depth of water. For example, the easiest example of a genus of kelps is Macrocystis. Now plant's body, in this case, plant's body is divisible into holdfast. Holdfast is something which is like a root holding the plant to the bottom of the sea or water body, and then the stem-like portion is called as the stipe, and then the leaf-like portion is called as the lamina. So there are three portions in the body of the brown algae: holdfast, stipe and lamina. They may have air vesicles also to provide buoyancy, so they keep easily floating in the water. Sargassum is found in the warm sea and is a free-floating type of Phaeophyceae. Fucus is also a free-floating type of Phaeophyceae. Then the cell wall is cellulosic and it contains non-sulfur containing phycocolloids. Now phyco means algae, that's why phycology is the study of algae. Now there are certain colloidal particles found in their cell wall, and these are without sulfur, so they are called as non-sulfated phycocolloids. For example, fusin, for example, fucoidin, for example, alginic acid. Now phycocolloids, they are important because they provide protection against the waves beating against the rock. Whenever the waves beat against the rock, they sometimes even carry the algae against the rock. So when algae are hit against the rock, they may undergo injury or breakdown. All that is easily overcome with the help of the non-sulfated phycocolloids. So they provide them resistance, and then they also provide them resistance against desiccation, that means drying out. We all know when low tide comes, water level goes down close to the seashores. So when the water level goes down, the algae gets exposed to minimum water, and at that time it is possible that sunlight could become so intense because water is deficient. It is possible algae may die, but that never happens, generally never happen. Reason is what? The algae will carry these phycocolloids which are non-sulfated, and these phycocolloids provide them protection against drying out, which is called in biology as desiccation. Now their photosynthetic pigments are fucoxanthin, chlorophyll A, chlorophyll C. So you can see one thing here, chlorophyll A is common to brown algae as well as green algae. That's why we call chlorophyll A as the universal photosynthetic pigment. And then there are carotenes also. Fucosan vesicles occur in the cell as well. They contain the colorless fucosan in water, but these turn black when they are exposed to the air. Reserve food is in the form of laminarin and lipids. So their food is not in the form of starch. They store their food in the form of lipids and laminarin. Vegetative reproduction occurs with the help of fragmentation, with the help of the nests of cells. And then asexual reproduction involves motile spores, non-motile spores. Flagella are lateral. Now we have learned in the last Chlorophyceae that the flagella are at the tip and they are isocont type. Now in this case, the flagella are not at the tip but they are lateral in position, and they are of two different types. That's why they are called as heterocont. One flagellum will be whiplash type in its movement and the other appears to be tinsel type. Sexual reproduction involves isogamy or anisogamy or oogamy. So just like in the chlorophyce, 3 of the variations are possible. Now there will be an isomorphic alteration of generation found in some of the Phaeophyce member, example Ectocarpus, and their life cycle is diplontic. Now when we learned about the chlorophyce, we learned there that even haplontic is possible, diplontic is possible, haplodiplontic is possible, but we find in the Phaeophyce mainly they are diplontic in their life cycle. These 3 terms at the end of this chapter I will be explaining to you what exactly is haplontic, diplontic and haplodiplontic. Now the economic importance. Many of the Phaeophyce are used as food, for example Laminaria, Macrocystis, Sargassum, as well as in the form of fodder for the animals. Then alginic acid or the algic acid is a emulsifier. It is used in ice creams, it is used in toothpaste, cosmetics, ointments, etc. Laminaria has antibiotic property. Durvilia has vermifuge properties. Iodine is commercially obtained from Fucus and Laminaria. And the sargassum from the sargassum sea creates problems, so it has a negative impact on the shipping industry because it slows down the ship, because it gets stuck to the bottom of the ship and slows down the movement of the ship. So this is how Phaeophyce has economic importance as well as some negative effects also.